Hollow Knight developers Team Cherry confirmed the price and exact launch time of Hollow Knight Silksong last night, leaving us to be the only gaming news show brave enough to ask the worst possible question: is Silksong too cheap?
And nothing's too cheap this day and age. God damn. But yeah, $20. I mean, we haven't got to the full story yet, but that's real cheap. Our capitalism-addled brains have to wonder, is that enough for Team Cherry to continue making games?
That's a really good question. The long-awaited spin-off sequel will cost $20, 20 euro, or 2,300 yen, and launch on September 4th at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central European Standard, and 11 p.m. Japan Standard. The reason we included all those is because, yes, the game is real.
It's a real worldwide video game. Amusingly, Team Cherry did not include the pricing or launch time in Australia. Perhaps because it's already been banned by the commission's board there. Who knows? But at the end of it all, hey, that's very cheap, especially for a game that is, I don't know, $20 these days. That's kind of like the indie, not the premium indie. Those games are more like $30, kind of what we're used to, or even higher than that.
Yeah, the pricing is similar to Schedule 1, which launched in early access for $20 and went on to sell over 8 million copies, according to Alinea Insight.
Yeah, so it's probably not going to have a problem finding sales, but will they be enough? Kind of like I alluded to in the intro, they could probably charge more for this. So the American in me has got to ask, why won't they? Did they not want money? What's the deal?
So for starters, Silksong is self-published. Normally, a developer enters a publishing agreement with a publisher, who then handles the marketing and sales of the game, and that includes setting the price.
Yeah, Team Cherry also self-published 2017's Hollow Knight, and thus directly received all the revenue, or 70% of the revenue, and then taxes, blah, 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 but a fair amount of the revenue from the game's over 15 million copies sold.
Other studios might try to scale up to accelerate development, but Team Cherry kept the group small, which led to Silksong's longer than usual development time.
Yeah, so that's basically the arrangement. Team Cherry has plenty of revenue. Hollow Knight's been selling steadily over the last 7 years or so. And they have a low cost of business because they have very few people on the team, so they don't have to pay massive overheads and payroll and all that.
Yeah, long story short, this is the trade-off for the sequel, taking 7 years to make. I mean, I don't necessarily think I see the 7 years in the development of this game, but I do appreciate that they're trying to keep it small and it's self-published. So I'm kind of fine with it.
Yes, the very rare instance where it seems they're only publishing the game as expensive as it needs to be to keep them in business and make the next one, versus a publisher would probably say, how much can we get away with pricing this? What will the market tolerate? And then price it according to that, because they're going to keep all the revenue on the back end and pay out the publisher, whatever the revenue sharing agreement, or if they even had a revenue sharing agreement, whatever that is. But yeah, they're in it to make all the money off the product. Whereas it seems like Team Cherry just wants to stay in business and that's it.
I love that. Another reason for the game's protracted development surfaced in a recent interview between Team Cherry and Bloomberg's Jason Schreier.
Yeah, basically, and this is the best possible reason, development stretched on because the developers just really enjoyed making the game.
Yeah, that's great. Team Cherry co-founder Ari Gibson said, quote, "I think we're always underestimating the amount of time and effort it'll take us to achieve things. It's also that problem where, because we're having fun doing it, it's not like it's taking longer, this is awful, we really need to get past this phase. This is a very enjoyable space to be in. Let's perpetuate this with some new ideas."
Yeah, new ideas, which makes me wonder what the true scope of Silksong is going to be. They kind of stopped talking about it a few years ago because I think they wanted it to be a mystery, so we're close to that mystery being revealed and potentially disappointing a lot of people that have built this game up to be the next GTA of indies, I guess. We'll see if it lands.
I mean, it's going to be Hollow Knight, but it'll be probably with some new gameplay mechanics and, it'll probably better art and stuff. That's great. Team Cherry confirmed in the same interview that they're already planning additional content for Silksong, alluding to ambitious plans.
Ooh, don't use that word, but yeah, it's exciting. And this is, I think, sort of it's an instance of what everybody thinks games ought to be, which is, small, impassioned teams working at the pace they want to make the exact product they want, and then pricing it competitively, but not greedily. This is the benefit of not having a publisher, I guess. It also means that maybe Silksong won't be localized in every possible region, won't be, worldwide release, because that's Team Cherry having to do all that too. So I think we do enjoy some of the benefits of a traditional publisher being attached to a game. But boy, howdy, is this a strong argument for developers working small and lean and at their own pace. And I wonder if this is where the future is. I wonder if publishers are going to matter in any situation other than these giant, like a Call of Duty needs a publisher marionetting multiple companies to work together to make these massive products. But whatever, that's in a whole other tier. For these kinds of games, maybe this is just how the future is. I don't know. What do you think, Bruce?
Man, I think you're kind of right, and I love that we're getting away from that. Where like Team Cherry maybe thought they're like, oh, maybe I'm sure at some point they've been talking about whether or not they needed a publisher, because they're like, well, we want this game to be big, but there's something, I don't know. There's a real argument to be made for companies that start small and then stay small and then continue to be self-sustained. Like they just keep making the same thing or something a little better, and then they just get to keep doing what they're doing. They're not publicly traded. It's none of that stuff. They just really enjoy what they're doing, and they keep their team at 30 people or whatever. I know a few businesses like this in our space, and I love that. I've actually talked to a few of the business owners in our space, and I've asked them, I'm like, do you guys want to scale up? It seems like you're finding success. And they're like, no. We just want to keep it at like 20 people, 30 people, and then we're just going to keep going at that pace. We like what we're doing. We're worried that if we scale up, the product will become worse, and it'll become more diluted. And like you said, prices will go up in this whole thing. And we just want to keep it where it's at, and make a living that way. And I love that part of capitalism. I really do. And unfortunately, we've gotten really into this. Again, publicly traded. Shareholders, buybacks, all this other bullshit in the stock market that we have to deal with all these huge companies like Activision Blizzard and Take-Two and all these other. It's just the worst, because it makes for bad products eventually. It really does. And Team Cherry is not that, and I love it. So I don't get us wrong that we're asking the question: is the game too cheap? I don't mind it at all. And I'd love to see Team Cherry succeed, because they're going to sell a shitload of copies right off the top. And hopefully everybody will love it.
Yeah, I guess the only possible negative consequence of this is that other games with different business models that can't afford to go on sale at $20 or whatever, they're going to get compared to this. But hey, that's the other side of capitalism that's supposed to help us, which is when, yeah, Bruce, a lean company with a superlative product can actually outperform these big companies because they're bloated and slow and have a higher overhead and have to charge more. It's working, supposedly working as intended for once. So yeah, I agree. It's interesting you compared it to our industry, because in some ways the arrangement kind of reminds me of MCNs in the 2010s. They were, I guess the intent was to see if online content was scalable. But was there like a money-making benefit to glomming a lot of channels together and kind of connecting them under the business operations of one kind of middle management company? Those companies made a lot of money, siphoning a lot of revenue off of their creators, but I think in the end they did not provide remotely the benefit back in terms of like career advancement or revenue generation or anything really. They just kind of took people's money and then quit their jobs. So I wonder if, yeah, for a certain tier of game, I feel like you'll always need a publisher for Call of Duty, but you may not need the indie publishers anymore, which sucks because I feel like a lot of them have been doing a lot of good work. Publishers like Raw Fury or Devolver Digital or New Bloods or anything like that. I guess you'll theoretically always need a money person to connect people with funding. And but that may be where it ends in the future. Who knows? Self-publishing really does seem like the way to go. I think the drawback we also get immunity from, because there's so many games. If games took too long to make and you had competitors beating you to the punch, fine. But I think Hollow Knight will in the end, or Team Cherry in the end, will be the beneficiary of not hiring up a bunch and trying to rush out a sequel and then starting a side game and starting an animated project. Like, I think they will be far more sustainable. Whereas if they had hired up, maybe we would have gotten Silksong 3 years ago, and the co-founders would be stressed and doing jobs they don't want to do, managing people as opposed to actually just doodling weird bugs and figuring they have to go in the game. So yeah, I feel like this is a refreshing bright side of capitalism, kind of like you said. You can choose to operate in that way. You are in the end kind of beholden to the market, but you're not beholden to trying to make as much money as you possibly can. I feel like that's a competitive spirit sometimes that we inherit and don't question. So yeah, and even in the media space where everything's got a grade or a number or view count attached to it, it can be easy to assume that more is better. But sometimes doing what you want in the way you want to is better. So Team Cherry is a great role model in this regard.
All this to say, what Lawrence is saying is that Team Cherry isn't greedy, and I love that. I love that, because there is a space for capitalism that isn't greed above all else, and that's what Team Cherry is doing. And I really do think that whatever, if capitalism as a system survives, I really do think that is the future of capitalism, is to, yes, of course you could go out and make a living and all this stuff, but you don't have to like kill everybody along the way. You don't have to be the greediest motherfucker in the world and destroy everybody below you to make the thing you want to make and become a billionaire. And so it's awesome that Team Cherry is greedy, and I'm probably just gonna buy. I may not even like play Silksong. I might stream it once or whatever. I'm just gonna buy it because I want to support it.
Nice. Yeah, it's man, Hollow Knight's a tough game. At least I remember it being tough. So I'm curious to see if the sequel will live up to people's expectations. Because gamer expectations, they're always pretty reasonable, right? I'd like to do a quick Inside Games chat about a recent game. This is just where either Bruce or I talk about a game we played briefly, a new release. Lost Soul aside, boy, this game is it's a handful. It's the exact game I don't think you'd be into at all, Bruce. Maybe to laugh at a little bit, but for me, this is prime, like 2007, 2008 nostalgia gaming. This is basically the exact game Square Enix would have wanted to make back then. It's kind of Final Fantasy 13 in that way. It's crazy overproduced. You got anime folks shouting weird proper noun stuff at each other about crystals and drama. It's more of a Devil May Cry game though. It's kind of like an anime action game, but it's got a really rough dub. Boy, they hired whoever they could find to do the VO for this game, which only adds to its charm, I think.
They're taxing us to pay for this festival. We're not even allowed to join it.
Taxing us to pay for this festival. So if you're nostalgic for the PS3, Xbox 360 era of big anime games that try to do way more than they should and think that they're way more important than they are, Lost Soul aside is your game. I really am unironically enjoying it, even if the fighting system is a bit loose and a bit janky and the camera's a bit odd. Everything's a bit off. But that's how games were back then. So I appreciate the throwback, the warm memories, and it's a pretty long game too. I think it's like 30 hours, which is pretty long for a beat 'em up. So I'm enjoying every bit of it. It's a campy game, yes, and we don't get too many of those. So if you like camp, check out Lost Soul Aside.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. Actually, now I feel like I should fire it up and laugh at it because that sounds like something that I would really love.
You should give it a swing. See how it plays out. I don't know if it's going to grab a lot of like viewership or anything like that, but it's a campy time and it's a fun throwback. It'll make you wonder. It'll make you try to remember what you were doing in like 2008.
We'd also like to thank some patrons that can finally end their hunger strike now that Silksong is coming out. Hot Date and Caleb Clark, thank you for supporting the Inside Games Patreon and also supporting Team Cherry.
And remember to start slow though. Just fluids at first, maybe an Ensure. But I have a few patrons that are going to wake up very soon from a 7-year coma thanks to Silksong. Man, it's just fixing everybody. Name Hogger and Matt Bogenberger. Stay off social media. It's gotten real bad out there.